What is going on, everybody? It's KB. Before the episode starts, make sure you go check out StreamerSZN's brand new theme music. That's right. We have full-time, brand new theme music thanks to the newest homie and newest member of the music side of Underground Sports Philadelphia homies. That is Mobley. Stay Volk. His new single is out now. It is linked in the description on YouTube, and you'll be hearing it on audio until we can figure out if we can play it on video on StreamerSZN episodes from here on out. That's our new theme music. Stay Volk. Go download it now wherever you get your music, and go check out the music video on YouTube. But now, let's get into the episode of StreamerSZN.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Let's do the time slip again. What is going on, fellow streamers? Welcome into another edition of StreamerSZN, the exclusive streaming platform, TV and movie podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. It's KB, it's Christian, as we time slip through another episode of Loki, Season 2, the penultimate episode for you guys. We're going to try to unspaghettify the universe. We've got crazy Marvel reports. We've got a new Marvel trailer for a new Marvel show that kind of just came out of the clouds because it felt like it was being tabled, but we have some reason to be at least somewhat excited about it because we've got TVMA coming to the MCU.
I will not get too excited. 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 Kyle, hold me back. Hold me back, Kyle. Hold me back.
I need somebody to Simpsonify Christian writing on the chalkboard like Bart. Right? I will not get too excited.
I will not get too excited about an MCU show. I will not get too excited about an MCU show.
And then we, of course, will travel through the streaming platform Multiverse news and notes because there's a whole lot to discuss. But before we get into everything, make sure you guys are following us at StreamerSZN on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok at StreamerSZN Pod, Facebook.com/UndergroundSportsPHI. You can follow Christian on Twitter at @thewiz_PHI. You can follow me at KBIZZL311. You can follow Dylan and see if he's still time slipping at Dylan Mazzola. And you can, of course...
Is Dylan real, or was he a figment of our imagination all along?
The properties of my mind are an enigma.
To Dylan or not to Dylan? That is the question.
Dylan is going to be one of the featured emotions in Inside Out 2.
Yes.
You can subscribe to the podcast feed, which we encourage you to do on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a 5-star rating and review. It goes a long way for helping this show continue to grow, helps more people find Underground Sports Philadelphia as a whole. And, of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia, which I declared on this show last week that if we get to 800 subscribers before the end of the month, we will do a subathon to end the year and go into the new year with a subathon to get us to 1,000 subscribers. We are currently 175.
I don't remember agreeing to this.
We are currently
Wait a minute.
175 subscribers away from that 800 mark. Let's get there. Let's make it happen. I want to do a subathon.
Famous last words. I want to do a subathon.
It's like the baseball images that preceded unfortunate events. So go subscribe, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia, and get your merch from our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. They're the best in the game, and if you want to stand out in the crowd, whether you're going to the movie theater, Netflix, and chilling with your significant other, having a family movie night, whatever it may be, PHI Apparel Company has you covered. You can get your exclusive StreamerSZN merch available on their storefront, phiapparel.co, and when you go to checkout, use code UNDERGROUND, and you get 10% off your merch orders. Tag us, tweet at us when you get your merch. We want to see where you're rocking it from. It is hoodie season after all, and my StreamerSZN hoodie is my favorite hoodie I own. It's so comfortable. It looks clean, matches with almost anything.
Looks clean.
It's clean. It's clean.
That's what they all say, Kyle. That's what they all say.
It's my go-to movie theater hoodie. So go to phiapparel.co, code underground for 10% off your order. Christian, we've got another episode of Loki to break down. It's episode 5, the penultimate episode of season 2, titled Science / Fiction, a Benson and Moorhead production.
Which, if maybe I'm missing the. So if I'm missing the. And now I may be getting this reference wrong, but there's a specific song in Rocky Horror Picture Show called Science Fiction / Double Feature. So I don't know if it's like doing a play on that, but that was the first thing I thought of. Where I'm like, hold on a second.
You went full
So-
Leo meme. What do you mean by that?
Hold on.
Well,
Wait a minute.
Benson and Moorhead, I think, were obviously just tooting their own horns a little bit, but they both came out and said that the final 2 episodes were the best episodes of the season. And I kind of have to agree so far. This episode, I really enjoyed it. I thought it did a lot of fun things to like reel everyone back in and kind of get us back on track with where this show is going. What were your overall thoughts about this episode?
First episode's still the best to me, but this is much more of like a return to form of what the first episode did well. So I have hope in them putting this back together as we head in the home stretch here. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I thought they did a lot of good things with this episode and really like reeled things back in a lot of ways and really left you like jaw on the ground in a lot of spots, which was like really fun to have with the MCU again, and you were kind of like having some deja vu in some instances. But before we get to the breakdown, Christian, do you want to drop that sweet spoiler warning for the listeners and viewers?
Wow, everybody. This is your weekly spoiler warning for Loki. If you have not watched this week's episode, please pause this podcast and go watch Loki. Wow. And then, come back and let's talk about it. Wow. Okay. Sound like a plan? Let's go. Wow.
Wow.
Kyle, you still haven't posted it.
I have to splice together all the specific wows.
I'm here if you need me help.
Fair. Wow. Loki survives the explosion of the temporal loom.
How?
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 But everyone else has vanished, and the TVA headquarters spaghettifies.
Spaghettify.
Loki escapes as he begins time slipping again, taking him to branch timelines where his friends Mobius, Hunter B-15, Casey, and OB were reset to their original lives as Don, Dr. Willis, Frank Morris, and Dr. A.D. Doug, respectively, and their specific timelines are a little something like this. San Francisco, California, 1962, that is Frank Lee Morris, a.k.a. Casey. OB, a.k.a. A.D. Doug, is 1994 in Pasadena, California. Very interesting one. 2012, New York, New York, is Hunter B-15, a.k.a. Willis.
New York, New York.
Because everyone knows what was going on, at least in the sacred timeline in New York in 2012. And then Mobius, a.k.a. Don, is in Cleveland, Ohio in 2022. That was an interesting part of the episode for me, just like seeing where each person's like actual life was taking place, and then obviously you know where Sylvie was. But what did you take away from just the actual lives of those characters?
I really enjoyed that they just didn't do like they did the bouncing between worlds to like kind of set things up to then end up going back to all the worlds really well, and it was just overall like once again, because Benson and Moorhead both did the first episode, right?
Yeah, they did episode 1. They did last week's episode for episode 4, and then 5 and 6.
Yeah, like it's easy to tell when Benson and Moorhead are involved, because there's just such a strong base level, and that really comes across in the simple moments, like that, where it's such a smooth flow, and it doesn't feel like over over marvelly and stuff. It just feels like well flowing.
Mm-hmm. It was very interesting to see Willis, aka B-15, in New York in 2012, because that's obviously the Battle of New York in the original Avengers movie timeline, in terms of date and location, but obviously on a branch timeline, who knows what was happening. And for her to be in a hospital too was also like,
Interesting choices.
Interesting development there. So wanting to time slip before the explosion, Loki enlists Doug's help, where Mobius is a jet ski and ATV salesman. Willis, aka B-15, is working in a hospital. Casey is escaping Alcatraz.
Yeah, that one definitely, I was like, okay,
Alrighty.
interesting choice.
And then OB is an author and a scientist and trying to quit his day job so he can just write full time.
Our dream, but with podcasting.
Yes, 100%. Subscribe to the pod. So then we have Loki enlisting Doug's help, and with Loki unable to control his time slipping, Doug proposes Loki gather everyone present at the explosion back together so that their collective temporal aura can send them back to the right time and place.
Which I would just like to say that whole sequence between Tom and Key, where there's all those many, like, who's on first, what's on second, with like when and where and can, and Key is so good at comedy. He's so fucking good at comedy.
It's the science part. This is the fiction part.
Like, Key. Now, this show is nowhere near as frustrating as Secret in Invasion, but like, Key is like Olivia Colman, where it's like, when he comes on screen, you're like, okay, this is gonna be fun and good. And that's been true pretty much every time. And it's always when they get him to do lingo type stuff where it like really shines through, because Tom just gets to play confused, and Key gets to be like, aha, no, it's this, it's like, oh my god, it's so perfect. I love it. It's fun.
So can we fix it? No.
Why not?
That always kills me. And they use the mug and pens to kind of like associate the temporal aura in the same room, which I thought was very funny. Of just like, oh, this everyday objects, and here's a way to make it make sense to everyone. So Doug builds a tempad using a TVA guidebook that Loki kept, and Loki succeeds in gathering everyone to Doug's workshop except Sylvie. And it's very funny how Loki was like, how'd you build a tempad so fast? 18 months isn't so fast. Well, maybe even 19. I lost my job and my wife left me.
It was like, boy, that escalated real quickly. Anyway.
Also, Mobius is one kid, totally Sid from Toy Story.
Oh,
just
yeah.
burning toys and exploding shit on their lawn. So he gets everyone except Sylvie, who has retained her memories, and refusing to help, Sylvie gets Loki to admit his true motivation. He wants his friends back and fears being alone. When everything in Sylvie's timeline spaghettifies, she goes to help Loki. However, Doug's workshop also spaghettifies, as do Frank, Doug, Don, Willis, and Sylvie. And Loki finally controls his time slipping by focusing on a person, declaring that he can rewrite the story, which what an awesome fucking line to drop in this current like phase of Marvel where everybody's losing their goddamn minds. And it's like, I can fix this shit. And if there was ever anybody to fix what's going on, it's fucking Loki. And it's
Bob
fucking
the
Tom.
Loki. Can you fix it?
Loki the Builder. Yes,
Yes,
he
he
can.
Put it
Loki
on
time-
TikTok. Put it on TikTok.
Loki time slips to before the explosion by focusing on OB, and then we cut to the credits, and we finally get that meme of Loki screaming where he's focusing on time slipping, and that is a meme that I have just stored in the chamber for rainy days when I just need it. I thought this episode was great. It was, like we mentioned, before we started the rundown of it, like, good return to where we felt this show was gonna go, and gets it back to where you want to figure out, okay, what's the ends to the means of season 2. I really enjoyed this episode.
I had a good time with it. Do I ultimately think like it's ideally perfect and where I want it to be? No, but I do think it's more returning to the form of the first episode. I'm like, all right, close this one out, guys, and I'm not going to be as mad about those middle 2 episodes,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it leaves enough of a floor like open for the finale to be like, have you asking questions, feeling emotional. Like the time slipping moments when everybody's in the room was very not to the same effect because you don't have that deep connection with the characters like you did building over a fucking decade long period with Avengers Infinity War when everybody gets dusted, but very similar vibes of just seeing everybody kind of like spaghetti off, and it was like, oh no, like what is going to happen? And I think, we've talked about this a shit ton with phase 4 of the MCU and early parts of phase 5. What the MCU has been lacking has been team ups, and this felt like a mini team up in a sense where it's like Loki got the band back together. Granted, it's variants of the band or, the original pieces of the band, not TVA, brainwashed, but
Yeah.
it felt like the semblance of a classic like Marvel team up that we've seen in phases 1 through 3 of the MCU. And I think that was like a fun aspect of this episode. It's like sick. Loki went out and pulled the fucking Nick Fury and assembled the team, got them back together in the same room, and now he's going to go to try to fix the day as the leader of the team.
I will say the one thing that like slightly confused me is like, how does Sylvie still have her memories? Anyone want to fully explain that to me?
My thought process with that is she's a Loki.
Yes, but
That's where my brain went with it.
I mean that's where my brain went to. But I was like, I don't love using that as an answer to this question.
That's
like,
what I thought. It was just like, oh, she's a Loki.
Is it just because they're gods, so the gods can't forget? I don't know these things.
And I just like, I don't know if we have the answer to it, and I may just be like word jumbling with it. And it's like, she's a Loki, so like they share consciousnesses because they are like the same quote unquote person, just variants of each other. But who knows? If you know, let us know in the YouTube comment section.
Please do.
If we sound stupid or if maybe we're on to something that nobody's talked about.
I mean, knowing us, we probably do sound stupid.
Fair. It's fair and just. I do like that, the way that they left it on the cliffhanger. You don't know exactly how things are going to get fixed in the finale, where things go in the finale. Where is this going to lead us moving forward in the MCU? Obviously, the next project MCU-wise that's up is the Marvels, which how does that tie into Loki? The only
I don't want
resemblance is
now.
time slipping and them all switching places because of the Bengals and their powers. But
okay, hold on. For a second, I thought you said because of the Bengals, and I was really confused.
Not the
For
Joe Burrow Bengals.
yeah, and
The
and and then I realized you said Bengals. I'm like, right, wrist things.
Captain Marvel's just playing quarterback for Cincinnati. Joe Burrow's in outer space.
So that's where Joe Burrow's been.
Jamar Chase just does a front flip and ends up in North Jersey. Kamala Khan's catching touchdowns from Captain Marvel.
No. So what? What? It would. Hold on. Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley, and Christian. No. What? Yeah, Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley, and Christian McCaffrey just continually switching.
We got all our coasts covered. We got the Midwest, the East Coast, and the West Coast.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Everything.
Captain Marvel's just doing the Joe Shiesty get the gat. Her suit just turns into a full-on tiger suit.
Meow.
Yeah, I enjoyed this episode, and like you said, like is it fully like fulfilling to the extent of where you want it to be at this point? Not exactly, but it does get you back into the swing of things and where you expected this show to kind of be, and gives you an idea and a hope for them to stick the landing in the finale. And if there's one thing we've kind of sort of started learning is Benson and Moorhead are good for the MCU. So hopefully that trend continues with the finale next week. And Eric Martin wrote this episode as well, which he wrote episode 1, 2. He did the story for episode 3, co-wrote episode 4, and then was solo on 5 and 6. So he's been part of the entire thing and wrote pretty much the entire show. So that's exciting to kind of, just know that this has kind of been his project. And then
it's been his
Benson
baby.
and Moorhead kind of leading the way on the directorial side. So any final thoughts before we give our scores?
I think we pretty much summarized it during the broader talk. So yeah, I don't think we have much else to say. I think we did a pretty good job talk about where we think it stands overall at the moment, and we're looking forward to the next week especially.
100%. So Christian, your score for episode 5 of season 2 of Loki, science/fiction.
Do you have a running record of my past scores?
I don't have it on hand, but I can have it ready for next week.
Okay, do that, because I feel like I gave the first episode an 8.
Yeah.
It was either like an 8 or like an 8.2 or something. So I'm gonna give this like a 7.5, where it's like I had a good time. It's getting back to where I wanted. It's got the elements. It's not all the way there though.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 7.7. I enjoyed it. I thought it brought back like classic Marvel elements to the show, which was fun. And, just having an idea of where things are heading is exciting, where with Secret Invasion you had no fucking clue what was going on. So it's exciting to kind of have that element back.
I would say we did know what was going on with Secret Invasion. It's just the show was ultimately predictable.
Yeah. So that gives this episode a 7.6 out of 10. Still very good. And we'll see where the finale ends up and where our overall score for the show clocks in next week, which will be, for everybody who's keeping track at home, next week when we put Loki in the record books, it will be our... Where is
the sheet?
I'm in the wrong app. I'm in Docs, not Sheets.
Shame.
Shame. So next week we'll bring on the, I think, 10th project. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, our 10th project for 2023.
And we're not going to talk about the stuff we still technically have to finish. Wink, wink.
Yes. Which
the audience doesn't need to know what shows. They can maybe try and figure that out on their own. But
I mean, for everybody at home, the ones that are in the record book so far, we started off the year with Knives Out, Glass Onion, Last of Us Season 1, which is our best project to date on the score books, Everything Everywhere All at Once, best movie score, Poker Face Season 1, Mando Season 3, Ted Lasso Seasons 1 and 2, Secret Invasion, and then myself and Joe Andrus did Ahsoka, which did brilliantly from two Star Wars nerds who just knew the backstory of that show. So then we'll add Loki.
And then one thing we should be able to add in the next little bit, The Killer, and we hopefully drag Dylan out of time slipping for him to talk about his beloved Mikey Fass.
Mikey Faz. Yeah, we got some projects now that, Marvel will be on a bit of a lull, Star Wars on a lull. But we will have news for another show we're adding to the docket after next week as well in the superhero space. And then I forget if I mentioned it on last week's episode, but we are going to have a StreamerSZN special presentation with myself and our very own Pat Pitts. Hopefully this weekend. I'm going to see what he's doing tomorrow night after.
I think we talked about this off mic.
Definitely did it off mic. I don't know if we did it on pod.
I don't think we did.
After his wrestling escapades, but he and I are going to be in a call together and watch the entire season 7 of Big Mouth together as his sober October has come to an end, and he is going to partake in some adult activities and sit down and watch Big Mouth, and then he and I are going to discuss the entire season and just laugh our asses off at the pure, vulgar comedy that is Big Mouth. And I can't wait.
You cannot wait.
I mean, for context, for everybody at home who may or may not watch Big Mouth, Lin-Manuel Miranda is one of the guest stars on this season, and he's starring as a pubic hair. Along with Megan Thee Stallion as a hormone monster, so... Let's get into this Marvel madness now that we've given our Loki score of a 7.6 for the people for episode 5.
What the people?
It is brought to you by our pals over at Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the game. They've been rocking with us for years, and the Tomahawk Shades app is so convenient, so useful, and just for downloading it, you get a free pair of sunglasses. They have the best warranty replacement program as well. I'm currently going through it on my own front because I lost a pair of my sunglasses on the road this year as I was calling high school football. All you got to do is file the claim, let them know what happened. They love hearing fun stories of what happened to your sunglasses or blue light glasses as well. Let them know, and then all you got to do is pay for the shipping, and they send you your sunglasses. It's a phenomenal deal. It's a guarantee. And they are just awesome people who love seeing content creators do their thing. And when I'm watching my favorite shows and movies, I'm wearing my blue light glasses. When I'm sitting and editing episodes of the pod, I'm wearing them to protect my eyes because those blue lights that are coming out of your screens are making your eyes hurt like hell. Go to TomahawkShades.com, check out their Blue Light Plus glasses, check out their sunglasses and their prescription lenses. And when you go to check out, use code USP for 25% off your order at TomahawkShades.com or in the Tomahawk Shades app. Shout out to the homies over at Tomahawk Shades for being the best in the game. Christian, let's start with this variety synopsis here that we have that's been going on with Marvel over the past couple of days to start this week and then obviously Loki episode 5 comes out, and then we get the Echo trailer, and everybody's like, everything is saved. It was very funny seeing the dichotomy of everyone saying it's Jover versus we're so Barack. Here's the roundup from our pals over at Culture Crave, who did everything in a nice, concise manner.
Thank you, Culture Crave.
Which hero slash headline do you want me to start with? We have Blade, Doctor Doom, Jonathan Majors, the Marvels, or the revival of some favorite MCU characters.
Let's talk about the Marvels, because there's some things we do technically need to quash with that. So go ahead.
So the Marvels received middling reviews, is a quote here, at a public test screening this year. While it was still in post-production, director Nia DaCosta moved away to start working on her next film. A source says, if you're directing a $250 million movie, it's kind of weird for the director to leave with a few months to go.
Now, that's the part that I need to talk about, because that is something that is common in just the general film space, albeit it may seem weird with Marvel, but also these things are Kevin Feige movies too at the same time. So there's not, so these people are generally like still somewhat involved in the post-production process, but they're not like bedridden tied to the editing bay on it.
And I think a lot of people got scared reading that because of the breaking the fourth wall, like, inside joke that got made in She-Hulk when the Wakanda drums played, when the Kevin robot was on the screen with She-Hulk, because obviously the writers and editors on She-Hulk, once it was over or close to being over, had to immediately jump over and work on Wakanda Forever. So a lot of people have just been like, whenever they see somebody leaving a Marvel project before it's over, that's immediately where they start like referencing, and it's like, look what happened with those projects, blah blah blah.
We should,
but you're right, it happens a ton with projects across the board.
We should jump to the She-Hulk bit next, because that part I found absolutely wild.
I don't have that on the roundup.
So basically the general thing was they had it all set up, they started doing it, and originally She-Hulk wasn't supposed to be She-Hulk until episode 8.
Yes, I did know that.
And then they were going through stuff and they were like, wait, no. And then, like, with barely any time left, they were retconning stuff to get it into episode 1. And it's like, okay, checks out more reflecting on the show about why it was messy, which, spoiler alert, when you don't have a proper showrunner, this stuff like this happens.
Yeah, I did know that because when the show was coming out, that got reported that episode 1 was originally supposed to be episode 8, which, like, everyone was like, how are you gonna not introduce this new character until the penultimate episode? It made no sense, and then you have to go and jumble everything, and then it was just not a good formula there for She-Hulk. Which headline should we move to next, Christian? We still have Blade, Doctor Doom, Jonathan Majors, and then our beloved character revivals.
I mean, Majors and Doom are linked, so let's quickly touch on that.
So, CAA, which is a very prominent
Creative Arts Agency,
parted ways with Jonathan Majors pre-arrest for his brutal conduct towards staff. Brutal conduct in quotations there. Which pairs up with Marvel has discussed moving focus away from Jonathan Majors' Kang for the Multiverse saga. One plan they're looking at is pivoting to Doctor Doom, and another is recasting.
Okay, so I first want to unpack a few things here. First of all, how Majors has blown this bag is honestly infuriating to me, because this is a dude who, if you knew about him before Kang, you were like, oh my god, this is perfect. This is exactly what this guy was. And like, even though Quantumania was bad, we saw it at the end of Loki season 1. We were like, this. He was made for this. And now it's potentially, I'm putting it at a 50-50 shot of it being thrown all away because you are a big fucking dude with no self-control.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, that's just very, very frustrating as someone who loves good acting, and I fully recognize this dude is a fucking idiot and probably not a great person, though and there's plenty of actors who are not great people, but that doesn't excuse any of this. When it comes to recasting, I mean, yes, you can do it. The only part I don't love, and this was my primary concern, is they blew the Council of Kang load. Council of Kang's load, so like literally in the post credit scene and of Quantumania, I'm like, you're doing it this early, and so now it's like, so you're gonna recast the entire Council of Kangs, and like recasting the big bad, like this is not recasting Rhodey. Like,
No.
you were talking about a guy who's playing basically a central, who's basically playing a central figure, and and part of the issue for me is that this is compounded by the fact that this is a person of color, and if Mahershala Ali wasn't playing Blade, I would maybe bring him up, but also it's like you're looking for someone with like a very physical presence. And there's not many people with a presence like Majors.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going from a skinny Terrence Howard to a skinny Don Cheadle. It's like, and I've been talking about this for months, but crap, I have to get up the name. Hold on one second. In the best name I'm able to come up with is Aldous Hodge, who people will know from Black Adam, but I prefer to think of him from the movie One Night in Miami. But
I could see that.
like he has the physical presence and everything, but I don't know if he has the now. Keep in mind, I'm saying this as an MCU film. I don't know if he has as much dramatic prowess as Majors, because Majors had the like dramatic presence and knew how to like control a room. I don't know if Aldous Hodge has that from what we've seen him in, but he's the first person that comes to mind for me in terms of big, strong guy who is a physical presence but can also act. And then when we go to Doom, I'm like, in an ideal world, and I was talking about this with one of my comic book savvy friends, and we've been talking about this for ages. The way Doom comes in is Doom basically pops in Secret Wars, and that begins the next reset phase. And so having to bring Doom in this early is just gonna throw stuff absolutely sideways. And while I think there's a Doctor Doom Battle World thing at somewhere in the comics.
Yep, which is what it seemed like, at least on the surface level. The direction that they were going to be going with Secret Wars is it was going to be the 2018 adaptation of the story, which leads to Doctor Doom calling upon everybody to come to Battle World and duke it out, and that's what resets the MCU.
And now odds are Doom would end up getting introduced through Fantastic Four eventually when it happened, like probably via a post-credit scene or something. But you already have a movie named Kang Dynasty. So you can't fundamentally shift the big bad without entirely changing a movie you've already been working on that already has a director. And basically the best thing that can happen for them here is if he gets cleared in the trial, and now he may not fully get cleared in the court of public opinion, but then again, when has that fully stopped an actor? But they just have to get it across the line they just have to get to Kang Dynasty, and realistically, how much does Majors have to be on the screen? The problem is we don't know because there's a million freaking Kangs, and it's like, was Silver Centurion gonna pop up somewhere? Was what's the name of Pharaoh Kang? Ramatut?
Ramatut.
What? How are they gonna bring Ramatut into this over the next season? And it's like, this would have been so much easier if they just didn't do the Council of Kangs thing, because you have a major scene where you have a bunch of literally all the variants of Kang, and they're all Jonathan Majors.
And only one of them is not Jonathan Majors, because it was like a silhouette of a man in a suit who is the guy who owns the QENG building that was in the Void in Loki season 1, which everybody thinks is the old Avengers Tower now.
And it's just like, they've painted themselves in, like, if they didn't have that post credit scene, I would be like more like, okay, fine, sure. But the problem is they blew the post credit scene there, and it's like, you can't pivot to Doom this early, because then you're just rewriting the entire back third of this. After you've already had a very bad opening third plus to this. So it's like, do you want to make this even worse and more disjointed? So honestly, their best thing right now is to hope he gets cleared, use him the bare minimum going through, and then send him into the Void.
Literally.
Yeah.
Let's go. He brought up his name. Let's go to Mahershala Ali, because I saw some other conflicting reports with some of this report, which was pretty interesting.
This is just the most frustrating thing, because a Blade movie should just be so simple. Like we don't ask for much for Blade. Like, we will take a mostly brain dead film with like not that many themes, as long as you just make it Blade kicking people's butts and slaying vampires, and we go, good, great, this is exactly what we want this to be. It doesn't have to be a broader MCU thing. It can kind of like tie in with the Midnight Suns and yada
Whitman and all that. So Mahershala Ali, which we've known for almost a year now, because we have the clip of you saying this, of why they didn't show Mahershala Ali on the screen at the end of Eternals, and me going, oh, fuck.
We should dig up that clip and repost it.
Yeah, it's on our Instagram.
Post it on TikTok.
So Mahershala Ali was ready to exit Blade over script issues, which we've known forever.
But explain the script issues.
So the story at one point reportedly morphed into a narrative led by women and filled with life lessons, to which I have to find the tweet, and hopefully I can find it to put it on the screen here in post. I saw somebody who said that they worked on Blade as like one of the original scripts, and they said that was never the case. So they don't know where that report's coming from. So I found that pretty interesting.
Sure, fine, whatever, but all I'm saying is, a Blade movie doesn't need lessons. It just needs practical action, guys. Just practical action.
The only thing you need to add in is Morbin time.
Nope.
You can kill Morbius.
Just plenty of blood. Plenty of blood.
Blade was relegated to the 4th lead. Logan writer Michael Green has been hired to restart the script from scratch.
I have hope. And this is like the umpteenth time I've said this about a Disney thing, but like bring in actually talented people. Which, if we pull up the CV of what's his name,
Michael Green.
Michael Green, who is one of 3 people on the screenplay. I will say it was him, James Mangold, and Scott Frank. He wrote in it. That's a bunch of TV. Movie
Also, a little
wise,
added part of this Blade thing from Variety. The budget for Blade is speculated to be less than $100 million.
which again, if you're doing this practically and not doing a big CGI thing, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what did the first Blade movie cost? Let's quickly check this. Blade 1998 budget $45 million. Let's quickly adjust that for inflation. And what do you think that budget would be in today's money?
What was it again? 25 million, you said?
45.
45? Be like 160?
Nope, 84. So it's basically, adjusting for inflation, the same budget. Which, yes, fundamentally, when you put it in perspective like that, 90 million is well within reason. And now the only thing that I'm scared about in terms of Green's scripts is, so outside of Logan and outside of Blade Runner 2049, both of which the directors were involved in writing those scripts, his films include Green Lantern, Emerald Knights, the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern film, Call of the Wild, Jungle Cruise, the Kenneth Branagh Hercule Poirot films, and he's helping develop the BioShock movie for Netflix. And I just look at his list and I'm like, he has plenty of experience in terms of writing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How much can I call it quantifiably good? Is it? I can't tell you, but he has experience, and that counts for something. So yeah,
Take that for what we will.
you have to take it for what it will.
And then the last bit of news, which I think is the most annoying and what are we doing type of news. Marvel is reportedly looking at bringing back the original Avengers cast, with Iron Man and Black Widow being revived. They haven't committed to the idea yet. Here's my Marvel. I'm looking right at you, right in the eyes. Stop it. Get some help. Don't fucking do this. There's no need to do this.
No one wants this.
Nobody wants this. Secret Wars is a thing. They'll all come back then. Just fucking wait until Secret Wars. Thank you.
And Kyle, this is once again where I'm going to bring this up. And now that may have been something that was brought to Kevin Feige, and Kevin Feige said, "Go kick rocks." But I think there's a brain rot in the Marvel higher-ups. Because, albeit they did somehow land the Infinity Saga, which is a minor miracle, but it's fallen apart so unbelievably fast that I don't know if they can correct this in a tangible way until they can fully reset it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a problem. And that's a
I saw
big
that
problem.
Headline though, and I was like, what are we doing? I was like, you have a whole movie. based around bringing everybody back so that you can reset the entire thing and move forward and keep this thing going for as long as you fucking want. Just wait. Stop blowing your loads. Bonk.
Bonk horny. Christ, this is why I just will continually have more faith in DC, just because James Gunn is A, an actually good filmmaker, and B, actually cares about the comics. And putting him in creative charge of basically the entirety of DC, I think can tangibly lead to more sustained, actual quality success over a longer period of time than what Feige has done. And I'll bet Feige managed to do it over 15? No, 11 years. Because Iron Man 1's in 08 and then Endgame's in 19.
Mm-hmm.
If Gunn stays in charge of DC until 2035, that's grim to think about. I think if Gunn manages to land the plane like we think he can, we're gonna look back at Feige and go, how much of this was luck, and how much of this was actual skill,
and how much of it was concentrated power of will.
5% power, 15% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name. Hey.
Shout out Mike Shinoda. Yeah, I mean, we had all of this come out earlier in the week. Then we get Loki episode 5 of season 2, which I thought was successful. And then today, as we record this on Friday night, we got a nice little glimmer at the end of a pathway in the tunnel that we are.
Hold me back, Kyle. Hold me back. Hold me back.
A show that felt like it was getting shelved because
it really did.
We didn't know what was happening, and then it was said that the entire season, series, whatever you want to call it, was coming out all at once, which was a first for the MCU and DisneyPlus. And then we get a trailer today. One day after,
and
Disney announces
4 letters changed everything.
And this is 1 day after Disney announces that they're taking full control of Hulu as well. We get a trailer for Echo.
With 4 letters that change everything, Kyle. TV-MA.
Which nobody saw coming.
No one. I'm like we could have maybe seen something like this. We were thinking oh, maybe Daredevil has this. Nope. Can I introduce you to Echo?
Can I reintroduce you to Vincent D'Onofrio bashing somebody's brain in on a car? Yes,
no.
You can.
No, bashing his head in on a dumpster.
Whatever it may be. He's bashing brains, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I was watching the trailer like, oh boy, that escalated quickly. Quickly.
That Echo trailer was easily the best trailer we've gotten for an MCU television show, quite frankly, maybe ever, and at least since Loki season 1. And it has blown away any MCU movie trailer we've gotten, in my opinion, since, if you remove Wakanda Forever and the emotional element from it, since I don't know when.
I will say the Secret Invasion trailer had me more hyped and stuff. This trailer, I think, has me more intrigued than any MCU thing in a lot of recent time. Because not only because of TVMA, but I don't think it's abundantly clear what is going on. Judging by how the trailer ends, we can theoretically say that there's a mini conflict between Echo and Kingpin dating back to the end results of Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
But fundamentally, I kind of like that, and it's only to look where it's like I don't know what the plan exactly is here, which is maybe a bad thing, but at the same time, I'm like they're fighting people in tangible spaces. We may have functional action scenes. There appears to be a base level to this that feels higher than other Marvel shows because it seems more low to the ground, dealing with normal people,
Mm-hmm.
aside from a gigantic Vincent D'Onofrio. um, and the TVMA means they're not holding back. And that I think is the most important part because up until this point, and let's just say up until this year, Marvel has been rather, well, let's say up until last year, Marvel's been rather kid friendly because we had Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is like 1/3 of letting Sam Raimi cook and 2/3 an MCU film.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get Guardians 3 this year, which there's some nightmare fuel stuff in there. I'm specifically looking at Florin Tooth and basically Spider Rabbit, which I'm like, no, thank you. This is that is nightmare fuel. Thank you very much.
And not saying that it was like horror or anything, but
It's just
Marvel like
not for kids.
dipped their toe in the water as well with Werewolf by Night by actually showing blood on the screen, which was like that was
Blood
like
in black and white.
well, I'll have you know they re-released
I
Werewolf
know.
by Night in color.
I know. I
I still
saw.
have to watch that in color, which
Same.
I'm intrigued to see how that is. But that was like their first like, let me put my big toe in the water and see what we can get away with. And now it's like progressed.
Yeah. Over the last year and a half, they've pushed the envelope more in terms of like being a little more adult. And now we get this TVMA. And I'm like, okay, how far are we going to push this? Which, seeing this as TVMA just makes me even madder about Secret Invasion because that should be the TVMA show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at what they have Olivia Colman doing. They have her cutting people's fingers off. They have him shoot a guy in the head point blank range. And that's not TVMA?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't want to unpack Secret Invasion again, but I'm like, what are we doing? Like, that could have been the thing, man. It could have been the thing.
And Guardians 3 gave us our first F-bomb in the MCU.
Yeah, like, which I was talking about that with my friend earlier today. The thing with that is, Gunn kind of sped through that F-bomb. If we're fully admitting, like it
Kevin Feige admitted he didn't want them to do it, and James Gunn said, "I'm doing it."
yeah, power. Like it kind of makes me think back to how at the end of Infinity War, when they have Nick Fury getting whisked away, it's mother, and he just, I'm like, oh come on, like
we were so close.
Yeah, and that would have been so good there. That could have gotten loud ass cheers, but because Marvel for the kids, it's like
the kids.
Yeah, it's like fundamentally, Marvel has always tried to be the family brand, whereas DC's tried to be the more artsy brand. And I feel like Marvel's seeing that being the family brand is creating diminishing returns when all the content feels the same. And so I feel like we're going to get, specifically with Echo and Daredevil and all this more low to the ground stuff, more TV MA. And now we're never going to get a rated R Marvel film, but I want them to push the limits more. Like there's a great like PG-13 horror Sam Raimi film that just happens to star Doctor Strange in it. because and now I was talking about this with a friend. Remember the whole camertage
Mm-hmm.
sequence in that film? That is pure Raimi horror. Like her crawling out of the mirror or or the boat's like, good grief, man.
That's
Like,
terrifying.
I know. And 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 it just like ebbs and flows with moments like that. Like Raimi truly gets about like 5 to 10 scenes in there. Well, no, like 5 to 6 scenes in there where he gets to cook, and they're absolutely amazing scenes. And then it just goes back to being a Marvel film that happens to have some Raimi style imagery. I'm like, come on, just a little, come on. So yes, I don't know much about the people who are making Echo, but I'm
See if I can
hoping
find it.
they at least give this like make this truly worthy of TVMA.
Yeah. The other awesome part about Echo, Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, both in the show. Um, and I'm trying to pull up here the show. And Alaqua Cox, obviously, who plays Maya, aka Echo. I thought she was phenomenal in Hawkeye. I think she's going to be awesome in this show.
Which hold speaking of, I remembered something from the trailer that I want to shout out. There's a person showed on the screen for like 1 second. I don't know her name, but where are you?
And
Yes,
I'm
here.
so sorry.
So I'm gonna double check this. So please make me be right. Yes, wonderful. Her, 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 her name is Tantu Cardinal, and I assume in this she's going to be somewhere involved in Echo's heritage because be be because she is of native heritage in Canada. And the reason I recognized her is she's in Killers of the Flower Moon. She plays the mom of Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon. And she shows up for like 1 second in the trailer, and I feel like that's at least somewhat notable.
Yeah, I think
Where
there's like I think I saw a graphic like there. I think there's at least 8 Native American actors in the show too, which I love. Because fun little story. My good pal Corey Critelli, a couple years ago when Echo was like being rumored and it wasn't really like a full send project just yet, but like they announced the name for it. He sent me a backstage listing for Echo to audition as an extra. And I opened the link and I was like, yeah, why not? Let's see. It was Native American only casting for it. And I was like, darn. But I was like, that's cool that they're doing this. And I like that they're like following along with the heritage of some of these characters and things. I do
one,
have the directors too whenever you.
yeah. So I remembered a tweet about this. So the person directing the first episode is Sydney Freeland, which there's one other thing we can unpack with this. But first of all, she has directed episodes of Reservation Dogs, which is a Taika Waititi produced show that focuses on indigenous people, kids. Mainly, it's a Hulu series. It's gotten very, 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 very good praise. It's something I think we should maybe dive into as it's come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that may be a good project for us. So there's that. There's that. That's no. But also, she's transgender.
Mm,
So it's the first major, like Disney Marvel thing to be done by someone who's transgender.
that's really cool.
So just something interesting to unpack in that. And her her father her father is Navajo and her mother is Scottish, and she was raised on a Navajo reservation, so she is also native. So
She also she wrote and directed the short film Hoverboard in 2012 and the film Drunktown's Finest in 2014, which garnered numerous acclaims after premiering at the Sundance Film Festival. Her second film, Deidre and Laney Rob a Train, debuted at Sundance and was released on Netflix in 2017. And her resume started in 2008 with a short known as The Migration. And then 2012 was Hoverboard, 2014 was Drunktown's Finest. And she has she worked on 2 episodes as a director for Grey's Anatomy in 2018 and 2019. Heather's
Fear
the
the
TV
Walking
series.
Dead.
Whole bunch. Tales of the City, which is a miniseries. Rutherford Falls. She worked on 4 episodes, 2 episodes of the Nancy Drew TV series in 2020. Like, she's got a whole list of projects she's worked on. And then someone else directing episodes is Catriona Mackenzie. She's an Australian filmmaker. She's known for her film Satellite Boy and television series Kiki and Kitty, which is written by Nakia Louie, and Wrong Kind of Black. Her production company is called Dark Horse. And seeing the other things she may have worked on. So she's worked on numerous other TV series, including Supernatural, The Walking Dead, Tidelands, Harrow, The Warriors, Dance Academy, The Circuit, Redfern Now, and The Gods of Wheat Street. She's the first Indigenous Australian woman to direct a TV series in the U.S.
That is specifically what I was going to ask. So, now, I really, really, really appreciate Marvel for doing this. Your main character is Indigenous. She is a woman. What do? They get 2 Indigenous women directors. I'm like, okay. Like, there are signs of hope for me in this show. I'm not getting my hopes up.
Mackenzie was also appointed as a film and television industry advisory committee member under Screen NSW's Sydney City of Film Initiative in 2019, and then reappointed in 2022. So she's got a little cachet down under.
So there's 2 reasons I'm holding back on the show. A, given the recent track record of Marvel, I don't trust them to have a story that will remain functional for more than 2 episodes in a row, because I feel like that's been as long as the series remains linearly functional before going off the rails and then maybe coming back on the rails. But as much as I love the choice to have these Indigenous directors, they haven't done much in terms of like, okay, well, I shouldn't. Freeland has done bigger budget shows, but it's just me being like, the MCU is a different animal than 90% of the shows that they've done, 95. And I have slight do I think they can do it? Yes. Do I have skepticism on it meeting my hopes? Yes. Do I probably have unrealistic hopes? Yes. But I have hope. I have hope. Like, looking at the directing talent, I have more hope than I did with Secret Invasion. And even though Secret Invasion had a guy who had made some smaller like thriller films, the Indigenous part of this I feel like is more important than them having directed big TV shows and other things. So I'm cautiously optimistic about this. Given the collection of all the stuff we've unpacked here.
Yeah, I think we have 7 confirmed native stars too, like actors in the show, which one of them has an amazing name. His name is Cody Lightning. I was like, that's an unbelievable name.
Great name.
His character's name is Cousin Biscuits. This also, too, with the trailer, when it came out, I feel like this is the first time that a MCU show has been advertised to be on DisneyPlus and Hulu.
I didn't notice that. Interesting.
It'll be on both. So that was kind of interesting to me. Because I know recently with the build-up to the Marvels, I think over the summer, they put the first 3 episodes of Miss Marvel were shown on ABC over the summer, and then they did it again with the last 3. So it's been a different integration of some of the shows to like help people get ready for movies and stuff. But this is definitely the first time I've seen it advertised as streaming on DisneyPlus and Hulu. And obviously it's the first time we're getting every episode. It's 5 episodes.
Okay, so it's not too long. It's not too long. Okay.
According to the show's Wikipedia page. And they all drop on January 10th, 2024, which is a Wednesday. So we'll see if that switches up, because we knew Loki was supposed to be a Wednesday, and then it switched to Thursday, and Wednesdays were the new Fridays, and Thursdays were the new Wednesdays. And
See, this is where I just look at Max and Max and HBO. I'm like, Sundays, their big shows go on Sundays. Huzzah! It's consistent. Sunday. Whoa. And meanwhile, Disney's like Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Friday, Saturday, Monday, Thursday, Friday. I'm like, please, pick a date, mate. Pick a date. The reason HBO was able to do it so well is because once one big show ends, the next one just starts up the next week or the week after at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Disney, you could theoretically just do the same thing if you picked a day and stuck to that day. Because
this is also interesting. I'm looking just at Echo's Wikipedia page. It lists the production companies, and both Marvel Studios and 20th Television are listed.
So I would say maybe there's a whole rights thing there, because let's check up on.
Because I just looked at
Hawkeye.
Loki and nothing was there, but I'm wondering if that's because it's also on Hulu, because Disney owns 20th Century Television.
Yes, they got it in the Fox deal.
Mm-hmm.
Production company. Yeah, no. Hawkeye was only Marvel, so maybe this was them realizing, because I feel like Echo went through an iteration or two to reach the point where it's at now. So maybe they realized along the way, and this is maybe their like first more proper step forward.
Yeah, because everything
hopefully
with 20th Century was obviously the Fox Marvel stuff. And just sifting through a page here, it does look like there's some sort of stuff with Hulu involved, potentially.
Interesting.
Oh, here's something that's interesting.
Tell me more.
So Regency Enterprises, whatever that was or is a co-production thing.
Yeah.
With 20th Century. Did the Ben Affleck Daredevil and Elektra movies.
See? Hold on one sec.
And Regency Enterprises. Yep. So Regency Enterprises, also known as New Regency, is an entertainment company that formerly owned the rights to Daredevil, Elektra, and other related characters.
I knew it had to be tied in the rights.
The rumors of of Elektra and Ben Affleck's Daredevil coming back in Deadpool 3.
Just get killed off, most likely,
Yeah. So that's interesting. Let us know what you guys think about the Echo trailer in the YouTube comment section. I'm very intrigued by it. Obviously, you guys know I'm a Daredevil stan from the Netflix series. It's one of my favorite shows. And this looks like we're getting back to that, which is exciting. So let us know in the comment section. But without any further ado, let's get to everybody's favorite segment. Is the streaming platform Multiverse News and Notes, brought to you by our pals over at Kenwood Beer, the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia and StreamerSZN. And it is the beverage of choice that you should be cracking open when you're sifting through all the latest news and notes in the streaming platform Multiverse. Go to kenwoodbeer.com, use the Kenny Finder to see who's got Kenny's on tap or available in liquor stores in the Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, New Jersey, and Maryland areas. Must be 21 or older to do so. And of course, please drink responsibly. Christian, what do you want to start with in news and notes?
Whew. Hard to tell, given we already unpacked a lot of the major news of the week.
Well, should I get you laughing from one of your good stars of Succession? Alan Ruck reportedly crashed his truck into an LA pizza shop.
So my favorite part about that is the first tweet about that I saw was, and this was the only text that was in the tweet before the link. Ferris Bueller's Day Off star drives truck into pizza shop, and who's the person that's supposed to come to mind?
Ferris Bueller.
Matthew Broderick, given his history of incidents, and it's like, oh no, it's actually Alan Ruck. Liars, baiters.
This was also very interesting to me. Obviously, this past week we had Halloween. Did you see the video from Diddy claiming that Warner Brothers sent him multiple letters telling him he can't dress up as the Joker again for Halloween?
No. Interesting.
They sent him like cease and desist letters saying that he wasn't allowed to dress up as the Joker because he dressed up like Heath Ledger's Joker, I want to say either last year or the year before, and it was very like convincing, and he was like people were like very like on edge about it. It was like, bro, it's Diddy, like relax.
Oh, hold on. I was just gonna pull something up, and now I'm forgetting what I was gonna pull up. Oh no, this is gonna bother me now. Not Diddy. Oh yeah, now I remember what it was gonna be. So I think we now sneakily finally have a release date for Masters of the Air, which has been kind of just this hidden away show that can just loosely be described as Band of Brothers, but for airmen. Which, by the way, it stars Austin Butler, and this was filmed like 3 years ago.
All right.
And it's an Apple TV show. And we finally have a date on it. It's January 26th, 2024. And it's ironic because this was in Apple's like 2023 hype reel thing. And that's just like, oh, it's nowhere to be found now. Okay. And now we finally have a date on it. I'm a happy man because this is a big prestige show that I'm happy to see actually get a functional TV run now that I think people should watch. Yeah.
Looking here. Kevin Feige said that he hated how Marvel didn't have creative control over pre-MCU films made by other studios. Yeah,
Oh, really,
why.
Kevin?
I wonder why, Kevin. Sean Levy, the director of Deadpool 3, says that Logan is canon to the story of Deadpool 3.
I don't want to unpack my feelings about this. Because Logan, and I've said this a billion times, I think Logan, outside of like, how do I put this? Outside of the Christopher Nolan films and well, outside of the specifically the Dark Knight and the Spider-Verse films, I think Logan is the best comic book piece, the best comic book movie of the better part since Nolan's The Dark Knight, when excluding the Spider-Verse films, which, by the way, Across the Spider-Verse is on Netflix. I've watched the entire 9-minute chase scene about 12 times already in 4 days. Yes, it's one of my favorite scenes of the year. So yeah. And just like going like, yeah, it's canon. I'm like, that just feels like a disservice to how actually great Logan was, and the fact that Logan was rated R and did as well as it did and everything. It's just frustrating. So yeah.
Here's a fun one. We never get to talk about the President of the United States too much on this show, but Joe Biden became more scared of AI after watching Mission Impossible 7.
See, here's the thing about that. That film is more of like the idea of AI. Like, it doesn't fully get into the weeds because it doesn't defeat the AI. It's just like, it basically ends with, we now have the thing we need to help us kill the AI. And then the second part's just going to be them figuring out how to kill the AI. So, yeah. But it was good for you, Joe. Good for you, Joe.
I also think we've had Zack Snyder stands working at HBO for quite some time, Christians, because HBO has reportedly been ordering staff to create fake accounts to fire back at critics who poorly review their shows. That comes via Rolling Stone.
So, everyone who writes a poor review about Succession, you heard me. I am the one who keeps tweeting at you. Okay?
In streaming business news, we mentioned it a little bit, but Disney set to buy full control of Hulu for around $8.6 billion.
Which I think is higher than the prior estimated evaluation was. Because
and everybody, I saw two ends of the spectrum of this. It's like, why is Disney becoming monopoly on everything? And it's like, guys, they own most of the Hulu shares to begin with.
Yeah,
they're just buying out NBC.
Yes, they're paying Comcast to clean some.
To which our Wi-Fi still won't work.
All of that money, you and I both know, is going towards not the Olympics.
Valid. Great quote from Hugh Jackman when he found out that he was going to wear the blue and yellow suit in Deadpool 3. Simply put, fuck yeah.
I was literally about to say, fuck yeah? Okay.
We need one of those quote cards that Bleacher Report and SportsCenter always put out.
Would be useful.
Moving right along, the Let's Make Everybody Feel Old movie release of the pod. 22 years ago this week, Christian, Monsters, Inc. was released.
Oof?
I went to the movie theater to see that.
Oof, oof? That one's a double oof?
That's one of the all-time great Pixar movies.
I would say so, yeah. we is it Elio that comes out? That's a Pixar movie.
Yeah.
That sounds like a well, no. Elio got pushed to 2025. Scratch that. Is Wish a Pixar movie or is that Walt Disney Animation?
Mm,
I don't remember.
It is
Wish,
Walt Disney.
yeah, okay, because I was gonna say Come Wish, which is end of November around Thanksgiving. I think that would be a good time for us to maybe talk about
November
some
22nd.
yeah talk about to maybe do a little mini list of our favorite Disney animation films.
I am game. Uh, cue the ever etched in your brain theme music, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, because House of the Dragon season 2 is premiering summer 2024, baby.
Bang.
Moving right along, HBO says The Last of Us season 2 is looking to begin filming in early 2024.
Makes sense.
We also have the Game of Thrones prequel series titled A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, The Hedge Knight, will start shooting in spring of 2024.
Interesting.
We have
You have
the official name for the Dune spin-off show releasing fall 2024.
well we have it's changed its name
To Dune Prophecy.
from Dune Sisterhood or
Yeah.
yeah, which is about, for those who know Dune, the Bene Gesserit, and it's a prequel.
I've been loving just following along with the Spider-Man 2 video game saga and everybody finding all these Easter eggs.
Yeah, it's fun.
Because there was a Nelson and Murdoch sign that was on a building that was removed and has since been put back into the game. And the director, Brian Intihar, on the sign said, "Guess they paid their rent."
That's great.
Oh, it's so good. We got the first trailer for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Anyway, that was that there was my best Jeremy Clarkson impression. For anyone who knows Top Gear, I'll probably show Kyle a clip after the pod about what I was trying to do there.
This is intriguing to me from a crossover because this character has had movies, but Sega says its first quote super game is on track to release by March 2026. Christian, can you? I don't know if you saw this news or not. Can you guess the budget for what this game is going to be?
Probably some ungodly figure. 230 million.
That's funny.
What?
Keep on climbing.
500 million.
That's real funny.
$1 billion?
A little less.
900.
Little less.
850?
It's expected to be over $800 million. And to clarify, Sega's Super Game will have multiple AAA games, and the budget for the whole project is over $800 million.
That is some funny money bullshit.
That is insane. 6 years ago this week, Thor Ragnarok was released.
Which that movie's so unbelievably fun.
Yes.
What is your favorite bit in that film?
I love Hulk falling on the bridge. It gets me every time.
Mine is a very specific choice. It is the introduction to the Grand Master when it does the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory thing. I adore that so much. I
also
adore
love the
that
rock
so
paper
much.
scissors entire bit is just great, and I mean it's our first introduction to Korg. Hey
Who's
Thor,
voiced by Taika himself.
hey Thor, they're bullying me.
Oh no. Oh
Uh,
no.
did you see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie?
No, but I've heard a lot of good things about it.
So apparently a sequel is being planned as a, quote, villain-forward film with Shredder being the major focus. That comes from
Doesn't surprise
Collider.
me.
Um,
I assume it's still being produced by Seth Rogen and co.
I would assume so. There's a quote here from Collider as well that says, Shredder is just a great character. He's an iconic, classic, loved character. He's like the Joker. You know who he is, even if you're not a fan of the source material. We're currently trying to make decisions about that. Those decisions for us as filmmakers are always going to come from the place of what tells the best story, specifically about our main characters, the Turtles. I did hear
Okay.
good things about that movie. This is the one that broke my heart this week because Tony Hawk was on Hot Ones and he said he had a Space Jam sequel that was going to happen like a year after the original Space Jam. It was going to be called Skate Jam. And he said it's the one that got away. He had to go down to Australia for a skateboard competition, and in the duration time period that he had to go to Australia, Warner Brothers released Looney Tunes Back in Action, and it flopped majorly. And since it bombed, the whole movie, all they had to do was press go, and it was ready to go. But when Looney Tunes Back in Action bombed, Warner Brothers stopped returning Tony Hawk's calls.
Sad music.
I was like, that would have made billions.
And
Skate
billions.
Jam with Tony Hawk and the Looney Tunes would have been unbelievable. And I heard somebody say, like, Tony Hawk could probably still make that movie now. It wouldn't make the money that it would have back then, but he'd still come close and people would watch it because everyone, like, Tony Hawk's one of the most, like, universally beloved humans.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who hates Tony Hawk.
Yeah. Tony Hawk's amazing. He's like my childhood hero. And who knows if Tony Hawk makes that movie? Who knows if we get the Tony Hawk video games?
Who knows?
But I saw that and that was like, ugh, my heart. In the Echo trailer, we did get Daredevil wearing his red suit for a split second of time, which is fun. Don't know if I missed anything else here. Oh, I do have IO Interactive says their James Bond video game, Project 007, will be the ultimate spycraft fantasy. Has a tone closer to Daniel Craig rather than Roger Moore. It's more scripted experience than the Hitman trilogy, and job listing confirms it's a third-person action game.
I mean, it's a vague description, and I'm like, okay. I mean, congrats, you're gonna try and create something that'll have a better legacy than GoldenEye, which best of luck to you.
Yeah. We also got the trailer for The Boy and the Heron that we talked about last episode.
Well, we got a non-teaser trailer.
Yeah. It's in theaters December 8th.
Excited for it.
Seeing if I missed anything that I have on my list, because we talked about most of the Marvel stuff already.
What you gonna do? What they gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, bad boys.
I thought I had one more. I mean, if you saw the winner of Halloween was the guy driving on the road in the Mandalorian, full on, just outfit and fucking speeder. Very fun quote from Lena Headey. She was asked if she's ever watched House of the Dragon. One word. Nah.
Nah. I'm good, bruh.
Also, I think this Russo brothers and Martin Scorsese beef.
It's so
just
fucking
very
stupid.
funny. It's very funny,
So
though.
stupid.
It cracks me up.
See, I just find it annoying because outside of the Marvel films, which we can debate how tangibly good they are as actual films,
Mm-hmm.
the Russos have done fuck all. So it's just like, are we sure? Are we sure about this, guys?
I think this will be a good one to end on because it's a little teaser for what we have upcoming after Loki. One of the next shows we're going to throw in the rotation, we're going to be doing Invincible. Very excited. I'm going to be watching season 1 to catch up to speed, and then we'll have is that just week by week that they release that on Prime?
No clue. All I know is I saw people talk about the first half of the reviews. So,
The showrunner, Simon Raciopa, apologies if I butchered that, was asked about a crossover with Spider-Man. His quote, "You gotta have to wait and see." Spidey Easter egg spotted in the trailer. Season 2 features the multiverse. Sony has a TV deal with Amazon Prime. And the cast includes Spider-Man voice actor Josh Keaton.
and J. Jonah Jameson himself.
Bring me Spider-Man! So yes, we will be adding Invincible to the docket once we finish up with Loki. We'll do a full-on just season 1 wrap-up and put it in our scorebook, and then we'll be doing season 2.
Our scorebook.
It's fun adding Prime stuff. I feel like Prime doesn't get enough love for the products they put out.
Well, Prime is a service that tries to appeal to the most people possible while making the least amount of content possible, I would say. And so stuff like Invincible, it's like, oh yeah. Stuff like The Boys, it's like, while The Boys isn't necessarily that, it's also a show that pretty much everyone who's watched is like, yeah, Boys, good, yes.
Mm-hmm. And we've done Hunters on this show. Jack Ryan's another one that is universally loved. So yeah, we'll be adding Invincible to the docket, which will be very fun. Looking forward to that because I know a lot of people look at me. It's like, you haven't watched Invincible? You're the superhero guy. It's like, don't worry, we're gonna do it.
My fault, bro.
My bad, bruh. Don't worry, we gonna get to it. Also, I saw because Omni-Man is in the new Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
His finishing move is unreal.
Brutal, some would say.
He's holding the dude up against a train. So yeah, we'll have Invincible on the docket once Loki comes to an end. But that's all we got for you guys this week. Make sure you're following us on the socials at StreamerSZN on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, and at StreamerSZN Pod on TikTok. Follow Christian on Twitter at @thewiz_PHI. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the pod, Apple, Spotify. Leave a 5-star review. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. YouTube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. It's linked in the description, and if you're watching on our YouTube channel, just hit that subscribe button. We're super close to new milestones that we're trying to hit going into the end of 2023. So help us hit those milestones, because when we hit them, you guys benefit as well. Get your merch, phiapparel.co. Use code UNDERGROUND for 10% off. And this has been another episode of StreamerSZN, the exclusive streaming platform TV and movie podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. For Christian, I'm KB. We're going to go time slip and see if we can find Dylan in the streaming platform Multiverse. But until then, we're getting the heck up out of here, and we are getting into the Multiverse.